This is the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, keeping you informed about the happenings in Annapolis and the area. Local news, local sports, local events, local opinion, and of course, local weather. The Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief starts now.
Good morning. It's Tuesday, May 21st, 2019. This is John Frenaye, and this is your Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. Well, Christian Schwein, a fourth-class midshipman from the 27th Company, is sleeping well tonight. He ended his afternoon on a high note by climbing the Herndon Monument in 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 5 seconds. While it is not a record, it is the fastest time since 1988. And we're not counting 2010 when Vice Admiral Miller decided not to grease the monument and they climbed it in 2 minutes, 2 seconds. That just doesn't count. The Herndon Monument is 21 feet tall. It is covered with 50 pounds of lard, think Crisco, by midshipmen of the first company. And the first recorded time was back in 1965, and that was a 3-minute time. It was not greased. The fastest recorded time was accomplished by the class of 72 in a 1 minute 30-second climb, again with no grease. And the longest time was the class of 1998, that took more than 4 hours. Legend has it the plebe who caps the monument will be the first to reach the rank of admiral, but as Superintendent Vice Admiral Ted Carter said, it's never happened. But for now, the class of 2022 are no longer plebes. Congratulations, plebes no more. And you want to make sure you check out eyeonannapolis.net. We had Glenn Miller on the scene, and he has some fantastic photos from the afternoon. And remember, this is commissioning week in Annapolis, so the key word all week long is patience. You will have people going the wrong way down one-way streets. You will have people not knowing where they're going. You will have people walking in front of you if you're driving. You will have people driving in front of you if you are walking. Be aware, be polite, embrace our guests. The Blue Angels are coming into town a little bit later on this morning. They will begin their practice maneuvers probably around 11 a.m. They're going to come in, scout the area out, and then about 2 p.m. they're going to actually practice their demonstration. There will be periodic road closures both on the 450 bridge and the Severn River Bridge as well, so be aware of that. The main event for the Blue Angels is tomorrow. It is their full show. It is at 2 p.m. and some of the best places to watch, people have asked me an awful lot of times, Ingram Field at the Naval Academy, Hospital Point at the Naval Academy. Now, Ingram Field will have a narration. The Blue Angel pilots will be there to narrate the entire show. Manresa on the other side of the river is also a good spot, the World War II Memorial. And believe it or not, the roof of Hillman Garage on Main Street is also a very good vantage point. If you are coming onto the Naval Academy yard, you want to make sure that you have your ID. If you can leave any bags behind, that would be a good thing. Expect a bit of a line to get through the security checkpoints. The most direct way to get to Ingram Field or to Hospital Point probably is Gate 3. It's a straight shot to the Severn River, and Gate 3 is at the end of Maryland Avenue. Looking a little bit further down the week, Thursday is the Color Parade at noon, and Friday it is the graduation ceremony that gets underway at about 8:30 a.m. You want to make sure you're following Eye on Annapolis throughout the week because we're going to be at all these different events bringing them to you. And again, the word of the day is patience. In some political news from the city of Annapolis, it looks like we are now into a two-way race for the aldermanic seat in Ward 6. Former Alderman Kenny Kirby dropped out of the race yesterday, citing some vague health conditions. Kirby told the Capitol that the recent decision by several members of the council to take a little bit of time off because of illnesses made him reassess his own health as he began campaigning. This leaves the race between Democrat Yanis Kayasoyani and Republican George Gallagher. As we mentioned yesterday, Dewan Gay was disqualified late last week because he was missing a signature on the second page of his application. That signature was from his treasurer. And we spoke with Gay this morning to see what the appeal held, and he said there is no means to appeal that. He is considering whether he may run as a write-in candidate, but that has some political risks. I don't know whether this is a political risk, but certainly a political kudos to our own State Senator Sarah Elfreth. The Capitol News Service had dubbed her the Freshman of the Year. For the Freshman of the Year, they looked for the first-time lawmaker who achieved the most success, and that was Senator Sarah Elfreth. She saw 8 out of her 10 bills that she introduced as primary sponsor pass. 2 of the most notable were bringing changes to the University System of Maryland Board of Regents, as well as establishing Freedom of the Press Day. The Capitol News Service says that Elfreth's success was an anomaly for this season's 61 freshman lawmakers, many of whom either didn't see any legislation pass or introduce a single bill. So congratulations to Sarah Elfreth. She is getting out there and working for the people of District 30. If you are a woman and you shop at Dress Barn, be prepared for that store to close. The parent company, Ascena Retail Group, has announced that they are going to be closing all 650 Dress Barn stores. They've not announced any kind of a timeline for the closing, nor did they disclose how many employees would be displaced, but we do have one here in Anne Arundel County up at Arundel Mills in Hanover. Finally, as we wrap up, it is podcast month in Maryland. It's called Maryland Podcast Month. It is the brainchild of the guys up at redmaryland.com. And the object is to highlight different podcasts throughout the month that are produced in Maryland or about Maryland. Obviously, since you're listening to this, you know what a podcast is, so give these ones a couple listens. Of course, you've got Red Maryland, The Mark and Lowell Show, Kirk and the Crab, The Langer Cast, the Conduit Street Podcast, and I was actually just a guest on them last week. If you are a political wonk and want to know what's going on in the State House, that is the one to listen to. Of course, you're listening to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, and you should be listening to our sister podcast, The Maryland Crabs, Section 336 for a sports show, and JB's Drive-In Movie Podcast for any kind of irreverent views about movies from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. All kind of interesting. There's lots of Maryland podcasts out there. Check them out. Okay, that does do it for our news today. Please make sure you're checking out eyeonannapolis.net throughout the day because we do update it throughout the day. Give that first link in our show notes a click and find out all the different ways that you can connect with us. Give us a recommendation or a review if you're someplace where you can do that. And also let your friends and family know about us. Aside from that, you just need to sit back. We've got George Young with your local DMV weather, and he's coming up in just a minute. But first, here's a little something about my friends up in Severna Park, Macmedics.
Have you ever been to the Annapolis Mall when it opens for the day? Maybe you've noticed the line of folks waiting to get into the Apple Store. As you may know, I'm a Mac user, and today's episode of the Daily News Brief, in fact, all of the episodes of the Daily News Brief have been produced right here on my Mac computer. What you might not know about is Macmedics. They were founded here in Annapolis in 1989, and they are an Apple-authorized premium service provider, the only one in the Baltimore-Annapolis, D.C. area. And what that means to you is that they repair all Apple devices, including the iPhone screens and batteries, all without an appointment. And most repairs are done the same day, usually within 2 hours. They also sell everything except the iPhone and the watch for the same price as Apple. I don't know why you would go anywhere else. Give them a call at 410-757-MACS, or if you're not into the whole letter thing, 410-757-6227. Stop by their retail store in Severna Park on Benfield Road, or their service center in Lanham, right off of Route 50. Or you can always check them out online at macmedics.com. I'll tell you, they've saved me quite a few times, and I know they can save you.
Welcome, Commissioning Week families. I'm Annapolis City Mayor Gavin Buckley, and I'd like to welcome the parents and family and friends of midshipmen who are being commissioned this week. The City of Annapolis is proud to host the U.S. Naval Academy, and we are always pleased to see the progress from plebes to officers. Enjoy our wonderful restaurants and historic district and shops. Make Annapolis your home for the week. We love you guys.
Going out? You need the most up-to-date local weather. Here's George Young from DMV Weather in Annapolis with today's forecast.
Hey everyone, this is George with DMV Weather, and this is your Eye on Annapolis forecast for Tuesday, May 21st. Great weather on tap today and tomorrow for Annapolis and all of Anne Arundel County with max sunshine and temps in the 70s after a cold front moved through the region, which will make for perfect conditions for today's Blue Angels practice and tomorrow's mid-afternoon air show in Annapolis. From there, warm air from the south will move back in courtesy of a high-pressure center off the southeast coast, with highs in the 80s to maybe lower 90s each day, Thursday through Sunday, which will also be ideal as it's Memorial Day weekend, and that means the start of beach and pool season for millions. Okay, that's it for today. This is George Young of DMV Weather. Make it a great day out there. Be sure to get our free app on all of your devices by searching for DCMDVA Weather in the Apple or Google app stores, and also follow us on Facebook and Twitter and on our website at dmvweather.com so you can always stay weather informed.
He started to get down on one knee, and I saw the ring, and I saw him, and I honestly don't know that I said yes right on the back.
She didn't say anything. She was just shaking for a little while, and then I think you said yes eventually.
Yeah, I guess I did.
hope so.
I'm Steve Samaras of Zachary's Jewelers. That was John and Michelle's story of yes. For a chance to win a beautiful, rare, responsibly sourced Forevermark Tribute Collection diamond pendant, share your story at astoryofyes.com.
You've been listening to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. Tell your friends and colleagues this is the podcast where you can keep up on the latest with what's going on in Annapolis. And also tell them about our website, eyeonannapolis.net, where you can find even more information. This podcast comes to you every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m., keeping you informed with the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. And take a moment to listen to our other podcast, The Maryland Crabs, released every Thursday at noon.